Welcome to the Psychic News Report. I'm Thor.
And I'm Annabelle.
Today, we got some news recently of Prince Harry is going to be visiting the UK. So today, we are going to be taking a look at how is his visit to the UK going to go. Apparently, he's supposed to visit his father, King Charles. And then there's speculation and rumors that at least he's attempting to visit Catherine, Princess of Wales, but there's some rumors also that that's not going to happen. So we're going to be taking a look at that today. And first, we'll take a look at the astrology chart to get the background of this, and then we'll take a look at the tarot cards afterward with Annabelle.
Absolutely. So Thor, May 8th, they're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games. Harry is set to do a speech at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. He will be traveling sans Meghan Markle. She will be either staying at home or flying on to Africa, where he will be meeting her. By most accounts, this is going to be a whirlwind trip. Once again, he's going to depart almost as quickly as he gets there. So I'm very curious to see what the chart and the cards have to say.
Let's take a look. So this is the chart of Prince Harry. Let's take a look at that. And you know, in Vedic astrology, which is the astrology I practice, we like to look at the planetary timelines. And the thing you'll notice is that Prince Harry right now, he's in a sub-period of Mars. And that timeline just started, actually. It started on March 11th, 2024. So what's that? A little over a month ago. And then he's going to be in this period till March 30th of 2025. So this is very much influencing what's going on with Prince Harry at the moment. So let's analyze that. I'm going to break that apart for you. So in terms of, and if we're going to look at the first question, in terms of King Charles, you know, is he going to visit King Charles? And how is that going to go? Okay, so the first thing is I do feel like with the recent eclipses, okay, in the 4th house and the 10th house, you know, 4th house represents family, homeland. I do feel like he is going to be visiting the king, and probably I think most people expect that. There's going to be a visit there, but I do feel like since he's in this Mars timeline that we just talked about, and it's associated with K2, there is definitely this idea that there's going to be a sense of distance between the two. So I feel like this is going to be kind of like, you know, when you visit somebody and it's just kind of like a cordial kind of thing, like I'm showing up, and we're just kind of exchanging pleasantries. I'm happy to see you. I hope that you heal. And because that K2 with Mars, remember he's in the timeline till next March, it's really showing this distance that's occurring. Annabelle, did you want to take a look at the spread as far as the King Charles question?
Sure. I put some cards out while we were waiting. And I'll just make this bigger so everyone can see. I'm actually going to agree with you on the distance and the lack of familiarity, the lack of warmth, one might even say. Here, there's a lot of disagreement about how to manage this situation. This is going to be courtiers, family members, advisors to the king, even Queen Camilla herself. I definitely feel like she is a guardian of sorts. I think she did this when Harry ran over to England when his father was first made public his diagnosis. So this is a lot of discussion, a lot of heated voices about this, and a lot of very, very strong opinions about how to manage this situation. I think this is a continuation of the discussion of the problem that is Harry, Prince of Whining. Here, we're going to have lots and lots of people in that room. This is an opportunity for Harry to capitalize on some kind of weakness, whether it is from the disease that's affecting his father or from the medicines that have been treating it. They are not going to allow him to probe and prod and ask for questions. You know, the opportunity for him to get a quiet word with his father is going to be very, very difficult. We'll have very strong personalities in the room, not including Prince William. I do not think Prince William is going to be in the room, but I think there are going to be some other entities perhaps Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, and perhaps even Prince Andrew. I'm getting the sense that the brothers will be there. Princess Anne, of course, is going to be standing at the door with her hat, with her feather. The reason for this is because they're going to stop any conversations about money. This is the money well has dried up. That revenue stream for Harry and Meghan has dried up. The conversation will be clipped. It will be short. It will be very foreign to Harry. It's not going to be a father-son conversation. It's going to be a subject and king kind of conversation. And under the surface here, there is going to be an undercurrent of discussions of money, and that is going to be nipped right in the bud. So I don't think that Harry's going to respond very well to this kind of treatment, because he does have an elevated sense of self. He thinks that he should be treated better as the seed of his father's loins, as an heir to the king. But unfortunately, there are a lot of power players that are going to prevent it from being anything other than a very cold and professional meeting.
That's interesting, Annabelle, because when I look at the chart, it's like this. There's this sense of being distanced from not only the royal family, but there's this kind of sense of isolation from just the world in general. So there could be this idea that maybe, you know, there's this general consensus that this idea of the woe is me narrative that we saw with Spare, and that we saw with the Netflix documentary with Prince Harry, the Oprah interview, maybe that story played out. So there's a sense of, even from the royal family, there's a sense from Prince Harry's point of view, when I look at the chart, when you're in a K2 period, it's like you feel like you're being rejected by everyone around you. So there's a tremendous sense of loss when I look at the astrology chart. It does tend to really correlate with your reading. And the money situation, definitely, we've been hearing about that they don't have the funds coming in, so they have to rely on these various deals that they're trying to make to fund their life over there in California.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And I agree that Harry is kind of a lone man on an island. He's a breed of one. I speak a lot about microcultures, and the royal family is a microculture. It's not British culture. It's a culture within a culture. And he is now a fish out of water and a fish out of a tank. He's just really in a very, very precarious, strange position. I think, and I've said this before, that he wanted to cosplay as a regular person. And I think he's finding out that cosplay, if you can't get out of that costume, it's like the Twilight Zone episode with the masks. He's taking the mask off at midnight, and he's finding out that he went from prince to pauper. And it's not a lot of fun to have to struggle to pay your cell phone bill. I'm just saying. So I do think that it's going to be a continuation. I think systematically they have been getting less and less cozy with him. And I think this is shocking to him, because I think he was always allowed to say what he wanted and behave in any manner that he desired, as long as he was part of the royal family. Again, one of the perks that he gave up when he decided to flame broil everyone in his publications. So I do think it's unfortunate. Now, as far as meeting with William and Catherine,
Yes.
do you want to look at the chart again? Do you need the chart back up?
Yeah, let's take a look at the chart, and then we'll probably look at another spread. But let's take a look at the chart again. Now, this idea, I feel like this really is two different concepts we're talking about. I actually feel like I said before, I feel like there's the meeting with King Charles is going to happen. It's going to be very choreographed, just like Annabelle's reading suggested. But let's talk about the sibling relationship, because that's different. So this idea that, Catherine, Princess of Wales, she has the cancer diagnosis, and of course, as a family member, you would want to visit. But in Prince Harry's chart, we have Saturn in the third house there. Okay, transiting Saturn. It went into the third house of Prince Harry's chart on January 2023. It's going to be there till March of 2025. And the third house is siblings. Okay. So third house represents siblings. And Saturn, of course, in the third house, what it represents is it represents a delay, a lack of understanding, a dense sort of energy that's preventing this relationship. Saturn is also the planet of no. So I feel like with this visit to Catherine, Princess of Wales, I feel like likely it's going to be Prince William likely putting his foot down and saying, no, we don't really want to have any contact at this moment. Now, what I will say with this whole situation, in the end, I feel like he's going to get the cold shoulder. But what I want to say with this whole situation, and I've been telling a lot of my followers on my channel, I feel like it's a temporary situation. I don't feel like it's going to be forever. No. Okay. I feel like this is kind of like the time they're in this really stressful situation with the cancer diagnosis of the king, with Catherine, Princess of Wales. So it's a very stressful situation right now. They really don't want Prince Harry involved. They really don't want that drama as part of this whole, greater problem that's happening in the family. So they're trying to reduce the stress with that. So I do feel like it's an ultimate no on that. I don't feel like we're going to hear any news with that. I feel like he's going to get the cold shoulder. In fact, we might not hear any news about any type of, it might be quashed. We might not hear anything about that.
This may be the only news that our followers get on it.
Absolutely. Annabelle, maybe you have a deeper dive with the tarot card spread.
So a little bit. I'm getting more information on this. And again, I read intuitively and inductively. So, we can read the cards, but I'm getting messages as well. I am a psychic medium as well. Here, William is it begins and ends with William. He's only coming back to ask for money. He will only be in our presence or the king's presence for money. That is the only reason he's there. This, and I know that you have some unpopular opinions about the marriage of the Waleses, but this tells me that this particular situation, they are absolutely on the same page together. And intuitively, I'm getting that William wants to protect Catherine from any further stress. This is really to keep her in an optimal condition while she's continuing with her treatment. This card is a no. My Ace of Swords in reverse is a no, so I'm going to echo that. This one is where it gets a little bit more interesting. I think he is going to request to have an audience with his niece and nephews. And I think that is going to be a big fat no. I think that is also going to be a huge shock to him because he has always been Harry the youngster, Harry the fun guy, Harry the fun uncle. And I think he will be bearing gifts and fun things for them. One would say American blue jeans and Hershey chocolate bars 100 years ago.
Maybe things from Hollywood.
Exactly. I think he is going to come and try and get that foot in the door. And it's going to have a very sleazy salesman kind of feel to it. At this point, those children are going to be isolated from him. There is no gift that he can bring that they will allow him to present the children with. Their concern is that this is someone who is extremely unstable. They cannot predict what he is going to say, how he is going to say it, or what he's going to do in the presence of these children. And they really are going to preserve them. Again, we get a loud, resounding no here. But I do think that the Waleses are on the same page about this. Their interest is to preserve and protect their family unit and their children and Catherine's health at this point. So I found it very interesting that the niece and nephews came into this reading. Very strongly, they came in. He's very interested in seeing them and resurrecting some kind of relationship with them. To what ends? I think that is the big question mark that the Prince and Princess of Wales have.
Well, I definitely concur. I feel like with your reading and then the astrological energies, I feel like Prince Harry is using this this Invictus Games anniversary as a sort of, like you said, a foot in the door, like trying to get your foot in the door jam, because reports have been is that Prince Harry doesn't have a lot of friends over in California, and he kind of feels isolated living in a foreign country. And I feel like, and we saw this during the coronation, I feel like, Prince Harry is definitely feeling like the black sheep. He was raised in that atmosphere. He was raised around the royal family. He had many times he spent in Buckingham Palace. And now he's this outcast, and I don't feel like he knows how to really handle this. So now he's kind of trying to insert himself back in, kind of covertly. I mean, we could say, using this situation to insert himself back in. But as far as the readings, both of our readings, it looks like there's going to be a cold reception.
I think so. And one of the things that I'm going to do after this visit is I think I'm going to do a remote view and walk the steps that Harry walked. One of the interesting things about royalty, the way that their rooms are set up in castles and houses of note, is that there are chambers. And the more important and closer you are to the king, the further you can get into the chambers. So there may be a sitting room, and then there may be a tea room after that, and there may be another sitting room after that. And they're all connected by a series of doors and hallways. So I'm interested to see how far he gets into the king's house, how far he gets into the king's area. If he's brought directly into his private chambers, then we still have that familiarity with his son. But if he's brought in, and that first spread did feel very cold. It felt like he was going to have someone escorting him in there, and he would be expected to go through all the motions of the protocols, perfectly. So I'm very curious after May 8th, after he's safely in Africa. I'm going to take a little walk and do a remote view and see how far into the rooms he got. The interesting thing is, with remote viewing, you also get the emotions that the person is going through. So if he is feeling entitled or feeling put out, we may get that as well. So, but that's to be continued.
Excellent, Anna. I think we had a quite agreeable reading. For those of you that are watching this, comment down below. Let us know what you think's going on. How is this visit with Harry going to the UK? How's this going to go? Is this going to be a giant success or a giant flop?
Absolutely. And to add a wrinkle to it, and I think Thor and I are going to take a look at this, there is a further rumor that Mike Tyndall has been given a high position in the Invictus Games hierarchy. So that may go over like a lead balloon with Harry. I don't know if he likes really sharing that. I've told you, Thor, I'm a big fan of Mike Tyndall. I think he's a little bit of a hunk. So I think it's going to be very interesting to have him in there as a former rugby professional and just an all-around kind of cool guy.
Perfect. We'll be looking into that and many more videos in the future. Thank you for watching the Psychic News Report, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the future.